Welcome, everyone. Today, with ringing our peace bowl, we affirm our collective hope for peace, and we acknowledge that these lands that we love are the ancestral lands of the Yavapai people, historically known as the Wipukepas, the Tolkepayas, the Cuevkepayas, and the Yavapai. Let us gather our hearts together, Granite Peak Unitarian Universalist Congregation and Prescott Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. Let us gather with some music. John Erickson and Cal Nye singing the Wabash Cannonball. It's just John singing.
She came down from Birmingham one bright December day, and all around the station you could hear the people say, she came down from Alabama, she's long and she's tall. She's a modern combination called the Wabash Cannonball. Listen to the jingle, the rumble and the roar, riding through the woodland by the hill and by the shore. Hear the mighty rush of engines, hear the lonesome hobo squall, riding through the jungle on the Wabash Cannonball.
Yes, what does it say?
Now the eastern states are dandies, so the western people say, from New York to St. Louis and Chicago by the way. From the hills of Minnesota where the rippling waters fall, no chances can be taken on the Wabash Cannonball. Listen to the jingle, the rumble and the roar, riding through the woodland by the hill and by the shore. Hear the mighty rush of engines, hear the lonesome hobo squall, riding through the jungle on the Wabash Cannonball. Claxton, may his race forever stand. Will he be remembered through parts of all our land? When his earthly race is over and the curtain round him falls, we'll carry him on to victory on the Wabash Cannonball. Listen to the jingle, the rumble and the roar, riding through the woodland by the hill and by the shore. Hear the mighty rush of engines, hear the lonesome hobo squall, riding through the jungle on the Wabash Cannonball.
Good morning. You can't hear Rhea, okay. Can anyone hear me? Yes, people can hear me, okay. So I'm not sure, our co-hostess from Granite Peak, Rhea Batterman, seems to be having some technical issues. So welcome all of you from Granite Peak and from PUUF. Something just happened to my, okay, I'm back. So that was quite a rendition from John. That was very nice. Thank you, John. And so we are thrilled from PUUF to be here with you folks from Granite Peak and sharing this hour plus together with you and reaffirming our connections with each other. And we'll move into announcements. There are not, I don't know what Granite Peak's announcements would have been, unfortunately, and I don't hear Rhea. PUUF didn't really have any announcements, but I did want to talk to you about the linkage team. which is a team that there are a couple of members from Granite Peak, a couple of members from PUUF, and we have irregular meetings to discuss ways that we can work together to facilitate communication and so on. And we are looking for 2 people from Granite Peak to join us. I am one of the Granite Peak, PUUF linkage team members. And so we hopefully someone or 2 from Granite Peak will be able to step forward for that. I wanted to also introduce Ria is the worship associate from Granite Peak. And on our side, I'm Jerry Matiatos. I'm one of the lay ministers and on the linkage team. And we also will have Eunice Ricklefs participating. She is known to many of you. She used to chair Empty Bowls for many years, which is our joint project. And we also will have Glenna Hudson, who many of you may know through the Granite Peak Singers. She loves to sing, and she's on a brief hiatus now from the singers, and she hopes to get back as soon as possible. So at this point, we have the Chalice Lighting by Ria. However, we do not seem to have, yeah. So Ria, just give me a nod. Can you hear me even, Ria? Ria can't even hear me. Okay.
Ria, what if you shut down and restart your device and come back in, and I'll watch for you.
Yeah. Okay.
We could go ahead and play the first hymn while we wait for Ria to come back.
That would be great. Thank you.
Okay, here we go.
You gotta do when the Spirit says do. You gotta do when the Spirit says do. When the Spirit says do, you gotta do. Oh Lord, you gotta do when the Spirit says do.
Rhea, can you
Is-
hear us now? Okay, no. Okay. Eunice, is there a chance that you have a chalice lighting you can do? We've got to get you to select unmute.
Okay. We light this chalice to remind us that life is a gift for which we thank those who came before us and showed us the way, and we are grateful. We light this flame to remind us in this place, at this time, to resist the love of our religious community, and we are grateful. We light this flame to remind us of our commitment to the quest for truth and meaning, the way of an open mind, the loving heart, and the worth and dignity of every person, and we are grateful.
Thank you, Eunice.
Good morning, everyone. I am grateful that we are here together, two communities united on this day. So would like to explain that the technical problems were due in part to my not bringing my computer early today and to the trying to work out a hybrid service Davis Hall and watch the service and have me in here too, where I am. I'm in Davis Hall right now, and that is a little more complex than we had thought. And I am full of gratitude for those of you who have joined us. Let us open this time when our President Chino Valley, Dewey, and Paulden. This message is traveling over some highways and dirt roads to places of ease and comfort, where people are fixing their favorite morning beverage and sitting in their most comfortable chairs. You are welcome here. We open this time to the possibilities that are around us, to play and enjoy. May we enjoy this time together, and may we find laughter and joy. We already sang together, so we will to sing our covenant together. Love is the dawn
Of this congregation, the quest for truth, its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve others in community. Thus do we covenant.
Thank you, Jerry. And now I will ring the peace bowl once again, and we will enter into that time of joys and sorrows. So let us, all of us, feel your feet on the floor. And Jerry is joining us with the tradition that they have in their fellowship of dropping a stone in the water for each of those people that we name. So, and feel the earth under our feet, and that amazing earth that is far beneath us, those layers of beautiful rock, all the way down to that fiery core. And then let us imagine that sky above us. And if we traveled farther and farther, that place of stars. In our community, we hold in joy and sorrow Robert, who is recovering beautifully from his fall that he had last week during our service. And we're sorry he had that fall, but he is recovering so well. And we also hold Ed Rosa, Lovejoy, Janer Eldridge, Dan and Sandy Reardon, Karen Anderson, who will undergo another surgery in the middle of this month, and B. O'Donnell, Karen and Merle Hagberg, Pocahontas still within the stretch of our arms.
And we are joyful at PUUF that one of our friends, Debbie Cook, has left YRMC and has gone over to rehab at Mountain Valley yesterday. She was so joyful to report that. I will place 2 final stones. I will place one for anyone here who may have a joy or concern that we weren't able to hear. I place one final stone for anyone in our community who does not have a place in which to share their joys and concerns. We hope they will find one.
And now let us sing together in the Granite Peak tradition, walking with you.
Walking.
And if Ria, are you able to speak? If not, I'm happy to jump in for the offer.
Oh, great. Ria's back.
Yay! Here's Ria.
I think, Jerry, you did this to me. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. Okay.
That's
so
Ria's humor.
I didn't actually hear it, so I didn't laugh. That's all.
Okay.
I said you did this to me.
Oh, yes, got to keep it interesting. People
Okay, sorry, folks.
of connection, right? We're having fun with it.
Well, you are. I'm having a heart attack. Okay, so hello, everybody. My name is Ria, if you haven't figured that out. This is the time in our service that we normally do the offering. Let us embrace the feeling of connection and community, and remember that these congregations and programs are supported by your generosity. We also give back to the greater community through Seeds of Support program. During the months of November, our recipient is LINK, which is the Latino Immigrant Coalition Network. This year's grand event will again be outside in the parking lot of Granite Peak, and everybody will receive a huge bag of gifts. Besides making an SOS donation, you can also sponsor a family, and you could do this by contacting Lena or Suki. And to give during this distance time, please go to prescottuu.org. On the bottom of the left-hand side, you can click the word donate, and also the link is available in this video. What is given in love is received in gratitude. Blessed be. Now, please enjoy some music by John Erickson and Cal Nye that you probably enjoyed before that I couldn't hear. Take it away.
I'm gonna write a little letter and I'm gonna mail it to my local DJ. I got a funky little number I want my jockey to play. Wrote a love a Beethoven, gotta hear it again today. You know my temperature's rising, the jukebox blowing the fuse. Well, my heart's beating rhythm, my soul keeps singing the blues. Wrote a love a Beethoven, tell Tchaikovsky the news. I got the rockin' pneumonia, I need a shot of rhythm and blues. I got the rolling arthritis down at a rhythm review. Wrote a love a Beethoven, digging it to by 2. Well, early in the morning, I'm a-giving you a warning. Don't step on my blue suede shoe. Hey, diddle diddle, I'm playing my fiddle, ain't got nothing to lose. Roll over Beethoven, tell Tchaikovsky the news. Well, she wiggles like a glowworm, and she danced like a spinning top. She got a crazy partner, you ought to see Marie-Land rock. Long as she got a dime, the music won't ever stop. I roll over Beethoven, I roll over Tchaikovsky, roll over Boccherini, I roll over Respighi, I roll over Mussorgsky, dig these rhythm and blues.
Oh, thank you, John. That was great. Yes. You are loved beyond belief. You are enough. You're precious. Your work and your life matter, and you are not alone. You are part of a we, a great cloud of witnesses, living and dead, who have insisted that this beautiful, broken world of ours is a blessing worthy of both deep gratitude and fierce protection. Our ancestors and our descendants are beckoning us, compelling us onward toward greater connection, greater compassion, greater commitment to one another and to the earth. Together, we are resilient and resourceful enough to say yes to that call, to make it our life's work in 1,000 different ways, including singing and laughing, knowing that we can do so. We can do no other than bind ourselves more tightly together and throw ourselves into the holy work of showing up like we did today, again and again, to be part of building that world of which we dream, but which we have not yet seen. That reading was by Ashley Horan.
I invite you all, let us breathe together again and just kind of shake out all the things that are happening. Yes, yay! Heather's lightening things up. We are getting a stronger internet this week that we think will solve all of these problems. And so I can be in the more beautiful surroundings of Davis Hall rather than the file cabinet behind me. I begin my message today a couple of weeks ago when Mary Lou and I were returning from time with our dear friend Claire, who was dying. We found ourselves on the last stretch of I-40 going into Flagstaff. We were sad and we were so tired. We began to feel the stress of the past days and the darkening sky, and both of us were getting seriously sleepy. I think that it was Mary Lou who started to sing that song from My Fair Lady, Wouldn't It Be Loverly? We sang and sang at the top of our voices, the wrong words, and with a very strong fake Cockney accent. After a few renditions and all sorts of laughter, we were awake. And we felt some healing from that sadness of the past days. It was the perfect medicine to keep us safe. And just as we had been exploring the depths of sadness, we could explore the heights of laughter, not really happiness, but that magic that humor can bring of lifting and lightening our hearts. I wonder when you have needed some laughter, not to change the facts of a situation, but to lighten a burden just enough to make it possible to carry. We were being human. Or were we? The Chilean primatologist Isabel Benque believes that this way of interacting is inherited from our ancestors, primates called the bonobo. She wrote, "For us and them, the bonobo, play is foundational for bonding relationships and fostering tolerance. It's where we learn to trust and where we learn about the rules of the game. Play increases creativity and resilience." Those are important things, creativity and resilience. And it's all about the generation of diversity, diversity of actions, diversity of behaviors, diversity of connections. And when you watch the bonobo play, she says, you're seeing the very evolutionary roots of human laughter, dance, and ritual. Play is the glue, she says, the glue that binds us together. As we were thinking of creating a stronger relationship, as Jerry and I were talking about that, between our two communities, Lightening Up rose to the top, the first sermon in a series we hope to have. Just as joy exists with sorrow, Jerry and I talked about this service for the first time while Mary Lou and I were on that drive away from our friend's bedside. But what do we mean by lightening up? As Unitarian Universalists, sometimes we think that it is those serious and deep conversations that draw us together. And although that can happen, I think that when we have those conversations, they are much more fruitful when preceded by some fun that has helped us build relationships. I grew up, as many of you know, in a devout religious family. I was taught from a very young age to be a missionary, which meant bringing up my faith as often as possible to anyone around me. I have a memory of being on an airplane. I was in my early 20s, being on an airplane that crossed the country with a man sitting next to me who grabbed my hand and started stroking it and telling me how beautiful my eyes were as I was convincing him to join my faith. I also have excruciating memories of how that conversation about my faith with new friends was the first step in losing them. These missionary activities were not effective in bringing in converts, but they were the best way to isolate me, to make it impossible for me to have true friends outside my faith. When I left the church of my childhood in my 20s, I mourned those friendships that had been cut short, especially a woman named Sarah, an amazing creative woman. We were in 50 performances of The Wizard of Oz together as university students, and she died in a car accident the year before I left that church. And we had stopped being friends, but not stopped loving each other. After I had that talk with her and sent the missionaries to her door. Since then, though, I have seen that tendency in many groups. In order to become a friend, sometimes a person must think or believe like we do. And I've seen that among Unitarian Universalists. We feel a responsibility to let people know our political and moral beliefs and opinions. And although there are rare cases when relationships are built, mostly relationship building stops. The person we are talking with senses an agenda, even if that agenda is what we see as our beautiful life-giving beliefs. There's nothing wrong with the content of what we say. Oh my gosh. Okay, the content of what we say. We have a phone call coming in from the beyond. There's nothing wrong with bringing up those ideas. The problem is that we haven't established enough of a relationship to move to those subjects yet. Isabel Benkei expresses from her experience with our ancestor bonobos. She expresses this: in order to adapt successfully to a changing world, we need to play. But will we make the most of our playfulness? Play is not frivolous. Play is essential. In times when it seems least inappropriate to play, it might be the times when it is most urgent. A good example of doing this well is Deb Walter, a woman in our congregation who's now in Eugene recovering and may be joining us today. The story of Deb and her next door neighbor, Patty, is wonderful. They have a fence between their properties, and Deb was trying to put in a garden when she was first there, and her neighbor would walk by with her dog, or she sometimes would walk with her disabled son who comes home on the weekends. Patty's very quiet and unassuming, and she came by to talk and laugh about the weather, the garden, what was in that present moment. For a long time, they talked about nothing, and they did a lot of laughing. Patty and Deb talked over the fence about ordinary things. Patty came over once to see the chickens, and Deb says she was new to the area and felt that everyone was a potential friend. And that is also a wonderful place to be. They shot the breeze for an entire year. And then last year in the fall, Patty brought up politics, and they did not agree at all. But they both made a huge effort not to be emotional about it. After that conversation, when they parted ways, Deb said, "I love you, Patty, and I don't want this to get in the way of our friendship." And then COVID came along, and Patty didn't want to be vaccinated. And Deb would say to her, "I want you to get vaccinated so that I can have you over." And then Deb went away, and Patty was in charge of the chickens, and 3 of them were killed while they were under her care. Patty was distraught when she called Deb, and Deb said to her, "Our friendship has gotten through politics and COVID. Chickens are not going to hurt us." And Patty said, "Really?" And then Patty came down with COVID, and Deb took food over, made soup. Deb said, "Humor played a huge role in our friendship. We didn't have a lot in common, and we didn't have a lot to lose. They didn't have a serious discussion for an entire year." Deb and Patty during that time came to know and love each other's hearts. In Isabel Benkei's TED Talk from New York, she suggests that the play structure of improvisation offers us clues into how we might create a foundation of play from which we could become more serious, as Deb and Patty finally did. When you do improv, I don't know if any of you have done it, but it's very interesting because somebody brings a situation and you can't counter it and say, "Oh, I'm going to take it a different way." You have to say yes and continue it yourself. You think of how you can say yes instead of how you might disagree. You build on what the other person says. I wonder if we could practice this in our breakout rooms today. I think it's easy to disagree. And a time to disagree could come, but what if we agreed just for the heck of it for about a year? I challenge you to notice when you get that missionary feeling in your gut that you'd better set someone right, and try not to follow that feeling. Listen, say yes, and we two congregations, we have a history. We have shared common dreams, and we have separated so long ago that there aren't many people around who remember that time. And I believe in future years, we could have some challenging conversations with each other. For now, though, I suggest that we get to know each other as we are now, beyond the history, by making chances of play. Now that we're learning about how to live in a pandemic, instead of waiting until it's over, because will that ever happen? I know many of us are wondering. We need to gather. I wonder if we could have a hilarious picnic without food. We could, so that we could all keep our masks on. For a start, I want to officially invite the PUUF membership and friends to join us in a talent show. And Jerry and I will give you details later as this unfolds. Let's consider doing some acts together for that show. You know, in many accounts of the civil rights era, a time that all of us keep wanting to resurrect, many of those accounts emphasize the singing and the dancing, the play that sustained that work. There are so many possibilities in these Quad cities for future collaborations. And let us concentrate on making those a good time. If we lighten up together, who knows what the future might bring us? Who knows what serious work we could do together towards justice in the Quad cities and the world? If we build relationships with each other through laughter and lots of yes and, this is how we will light up the world together. Together, could we be building a new way? Amen, and may it be so. And now let us sing together, building a new way.
We're building a new way.
With lots of laughter.
We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, growing stronger every day. We are building a new way. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. We are working to be free of hate and greed and tyranny. We are working
We are here together, two communities. May the future open full of possibility when we will lighten up and say yes. May we have the wisdom to play and remember that the times when it seems least appropriate to play might be when it is most urgent to do so. Let us watch an improvisation that gets us all excited for our talent show that embodies this practice of yes, and I hope might give you some ideas. Take it, John, Cal, and Heather.
Well, Cal and I, have had this great relationship, and we both came from the Midwest, and we had so much in common. And one of the things that we discovered was that we both were adopted, and after we researched it a little bit more, we found out that we had the same parents. We were actually siblings.
What are chances? Amazing.
And even, more bizarre was we found out we were actually twins.
Identical twins.
Well, I don't think identical. I think, what do
Yeah.
you call it? Identical.
It's pretty obvious that identical.
My family didn't feed me real well, so maybe that was why. But yeah, true story.
Who knows the details?
Yeah, I mean, it's just kismet, just fate that we would meet out here in Prescott after all these years and discover each other again. So,
All these years.
thank you. We'll leave you the link for the donations. Appreciate it.
Okay, everybody, I'm going to lead you in extinguishing the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
I guess we can do it now. We will extinguish the chalice. And we have a reading for extinguishing the chalice. And it's adapted from a poem of poet Grace Day, who was a member of our congregation. It's called Let There Be Light. Let there be light, shifting down from above. Let in the life warmth. Let there be love. Find the true meaning, all you people of the land. Hold to each other, so all may stand. Let there be life. Let there be love, springing up from your love, letting in the warmth. For all, let there be love.
Well, Rhea, I think I will remember this technical hurricane of 2021 today.
Well, before
Our memories of it.
Yeah, I know. It's been a trip, right? So before we leave, I want to make up some time that I missed here because I found this reading, so I'm going to do it whether I'm sure it's okay, but I'm going to do it anyhow. I found this reading and it's called You Are the Light of the World, written by Trina Graves. Every light is needed here to eliminate hate and fear. We can do this. We are one, together as blinding as the sun. All our lights together combine to make all humanity shine. Exponentially, we excel and grow. Together, we make the earth glow. As each light joins to be a part of what we came here to start, the chains of negativity we break, more souls we will awake. And that's what I wanted to say. And Jerry, I really had such a good time with you guys, and Eunice and Glenna. It's really fun. And I'm sorry I missed it.
Well, you helped add to the memories of this day.
Well, I'm sure, sitting here.
And we at PUUF would love to thank you folks for hosting us today and for having a joint service and for Reverend Patty's beautiful message. I'd also like to thank Glenna and Eunice for their participation. And I'd also like to thank Heather, especially for her technical expertise in dealing with this storm today that happened. Thank you to her for this.
And I want to say your name, Jerry. Jerry Matiatos.
Perfect.
Because I just love his name.
And at this point, I did want to make an announcement earlier, but I forgot with the storm that there is a celebration of life for Gwen Zalagi today at PUUF. For those of you who happen to know her, at 1:30. She passed away at some time this summer. And also we'll be going into breakout rooms and having a coffee hour. Ria, will you tell us more about how that works?
Yeah, the breakout rooms, what you do if you're interested in, I recommend everybody to really try it out. Just hang in there, and Heather will direct us into different rooms. And it's very fun to talk to people that you have never met or talk to people you have met. And I recommend it. And I thank you again, PUUF people, because this has been a challenge, but a lot of fun. And I'm looking forward to the talent show. Jerry, I want to do a routine with you.
I think we could arrange that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.